Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everyone. This weekend I was able to accomplish a brew, two actually. Had an entire Saturday that was dedicated towards brewing. I hoped to start early, but I wanted to go out and get some new equipment, and so I did. I went out and purchased a oxygen tank. It's just a small one, and took off the regulator that I use for carboning up my kegs, and just went ahead and used that, hooked up a tube to a air stone, and was able to use that to oxygenate my beer prior to fermentation. So that was pretty cool. Went out and got two better bottles with the spigots, so I'm looking forward to try those out. I used buckets for primary for these two beers, and I'll use the better bottles for the secondaries, and so I can get a better look at them. Yeah, so I do have some Brewday footage, so I'll go ahead and get to that in just a second, but I do have a beer here. This is the second beer that I had brewed up on my system. This is the Pliny the Elder clone, and I brewed this back in May, and I had, I think, close to 10 bottles that I had brought up to my cabin for a weekend with the boys. Well, I ended up only actually drinking, I think, 3 or 4 of them that weekend, and so I left up quite a few of them up there. And we went up last weekend, and not on Saturday, but on Sunday, just took a quick drive up and came back, and I was able to I brought back 2 bottles with me. So here's one of them. So it's been a few months since this was bottled. When I bottled it up, half the bottles, I don't know if you recall, but back in that Homebrew Wednesday, I was off on my yeast. It's my first time using a refractometer. Didn't realize the alcohol affected the output. Anyway, half of the bottles were actually, I only used 1 carbonation drop in a big tolly, and in the others I used 2. So I don't know if this thing is carbed up or not, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. Ooh, that looks carbonated to me. I had no idea. That sounds good. Let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a pour. Yeah, that's good and carved up. Now, it was actually in transport just 2 days ago, so it's only been sitting in the fridge a couple days. So it is still a little bit hazy, but there's definitely some carbonation in there. Little specks on the glass. Still got a nice hoppy aroma. It's not like overwhelming or powerful, but it is pleasant. It's a hell of a lot better than nothing, that's for sure. Looks pretty clear with the light there. I can actually see the lights. Oh, there it is. So let's give it a whirl. Oh, that still just tastes like I remember. That's good. There's no bitter harshness whatsoever. It's just smooth, and it's got that dry, succulent, just IPA feel. Oh, oh, I like this one. Oh, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. Go ahead and take a look at this footage, and we'll get right back. Hello, my fellow BrewTuber brothers. and sisters. How the hell are you? Today I'm pretty good. Like any other day. And a home brewer, I'm brewing. I'm brewing. Today I'm brewing a porter and Pliny the Elder. So I've got both sets of grain. I'm bringing out the temperature right now in the HLT for, I haven't decided which one I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to do it. Probably do the porter. See how it goes. Alright, so I've got my strike water, 73 degrees. I had it set for 71, overshot a little bit. That's alright. So here on the HLT, I've got it filled with water, which is 73 degrees now. What I'm going to do is take it out, go into the pump, and then go from the pump out into the bottom of the HLT and start to fill it up with 4.5 gallons of water for strike water, and then I'll put in the grains. So let's go ahead and just turn on the pump. You're going to see water's coming out of here, going through the pump, and finally raising up down here in the bottom of the mash tun. And it's coming up pretty good. Currently at more than 3.5, just about at 4, and I'll shut it off at 4.5. Alright. Off there. Set in the recirculation tube. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and. Alright, so things are running. The porter looks excellent, nice color. Same it had last time I made this chocolate vanilla porter. So that's pretty good. Here are our temperatures. Currently at 66 in the mash tun. Got it set for 65, but the temp is still coming down from when it was strike water. But yeah, so now we've got water recirculating from the HLT coming out through the pump and then back up. And then over here, it's just a mash tun coming out of the bottom through the pump, through the coil in the HLT, and then back into the mash tun. Almost forgot my oats. I didn't take oats because I already had some at home, but I went ahead and put those in and stirred them up after the last take. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Alright, so one of the best investments you can make is a pH scanner, or pH bar, in order to read out the pH. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the calibration solution for this, so I'm going to have to wait on that. Till then, I'm using a couple of these strips. I've got the 1 to 12 pH, and then also the 5.2 to 6.8. So I'm looking at here at my initial strip. This is the 1 to 12. I cut it in half so that I can basically save my strips. I only have to use you know, each one will become 2 basically. You can cut these into thirds, and that's alright, like I did with this one. So I've got, you can see the one on the right hand side here in the middle, that's the 1 to 12. This is the dry one. One down here, 12 at the top. You can see in the center, I'm kind of like a green-brown. So that puts me down here within like the 5 range. So I knew I'm within 5, so I went ahead and took my 5 to 6.8 strips and then try and figure out where I am here. So here's the 5.2 to 6.8. I just dipped this in. You can see it's kind of like a red-brown. See if I can get that to focus. So then you ask yourself, okay, well, where's that going to go? You know, is it up here? Could be, I guess. Then again, it could be, it's more like a 5.9 than it is for 6.1. If I check it out compared to 5.7, you know, almost somewhere in between, maybe like a 5.8. Alright, we're doing pretty good. We're at 40 minutes. Time to give it another stir. Holding steady at 65. All's good to go. Okay, so the mash is complete, and right now I'm sparging. So I've got the HLT here coming out through the pump, now in through the bottom of the coil, pushing out whatever wort was in there up into the mash tun, and now I'm rinsing the grains with 70 °C water, and then coming out of the bottom of the mash tun through the pump. Now I'm going up into the top of the boil kettle and starting to fill it up. So you can see here the clear water coming out of the HLT, keeping about an inch of water over the grain bed to rinse it out. And then over here in the boil kettle, just a trickle coming out, letting it fill up. So there we go. Starting to fill it up. It's good color, not too bad. Alright, so I just had a huge scare. I was like, I had just finished filling up the boil kettle with my total volume for the porter, and I switched on the boil element to turn it on, and my fucking control panel died. I heard pop, I looked, lights went off, what the hell. So I looked in it, and then turned off the power, obviously, turned off the breaker, went back, opened up the panel, and looked at the little 7 amp fuse. Yeah, so it's a fuse. Duh. So I got the fuse right here. This one popped. Interesting. Just without warning. So I went ahead and changed that, and then I go back, turn the power on, come back, turn it on. Power panel booted up, obviously, you see the lights are on. But then I went to turn the kettle back on for the boil kettle, the element for the boil kettle, and nothing. So it seems like the relay switch that I have either fried or something's wrong with it. So if I click on the HLT one, the HLT element comes on, you hear it pop, come on, the magnet is engaged, power goes to the HLT element. So what I've done now, I can't just stop. I'm going to go ahead and I switched the power cables, so now I'm using the HLT output and PID for my boil kettle to control my boil kettle, right? Anyway, so yeah, so I got to look into that. What was good was that I learned a lesson that if you're ever going to buy anything from overseas, eBay, China, whatever, you have to buy two. So I do have, luckily, an extra, you can see it here, I've got an extra relay just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out, swap it out after I'm done for today, and then give that a whirl. I got the planning to do after, so I'm kind of hoping that it holds for that. Okay, so Beersmith told me I should be collecting about 7.78 gallons of wort. What I really picked up was just over 8, so about 8.2. Just coming up to a boil. Take the spoon and give a little stir. Style on this porter is a Baltic porter. So, yep, just in case you're wondering. Well, we reached hot break, and that's pretty much while I'm cleaning out the grains. So that's good. Come over here. Since it's the HLT now, it's controlling the oil. I'll go ahead and bring this down to about probably 75%. And yeah, we'll leave it there. Pretty good strong boil. That'll back off a little bit in a couple of minutes and just become a nice rolling boil. Yeah, I'll call that the 0 minute mark. And I'm starting off with an ounce of Challenger. There we go. Start the clock. 60 minutes. Starts now. Alright, so I'm an idiot. I made a mistake on that pre-boil gravity. I actually, we looked at it, it was 1042, but I forgot to add in the brown sugar before we took that. So I'm about 10 minutes into the boil. I've only boiled off about 0.1 gallon and adding a little bit more than a pound of brown sugar brought that pre-boil gravity, or now it's a boil gravity, up to 1050. So and that's bringing the temperature down and everything, normalizing the temperature. So that's alright. That's better than 1042. So that's pretty much where we should be. Dialed into Beersmith. Puts the efficiency today at 76%. So alright, we just hit the 40-minute mark on the boil, so time to go in and add in our 1.5 ounce of Willamette. Boy, this thing having an interesting time. 20 minutes before the end. Smell those hops. Oh yeah, baby. Alright, stuff them in. Come on, let's go. Get them all in there. Good stuff. Alright, second batch of the day. Here we come with the Pliny. Just poured in the strike water. Now I am have doughed in and just seeking destroying dough balls. Yeah. Alright, well, we'll get this stirred up and then get it covered and get the recirc going, and we'll come back. Alright, so it's been a long day. I finally got the Pliny all done. Here's the mash, as it were. Still emptying out into a bucket. Got 8 gallons collected in the boil kettle. And here it is, just about to hit the hot break. You can see I've got about 8 gallons in there. So that's it. We started today at oh gosh, I think we started at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And first one was done at 7 o'clock. That was the porter. And here we go. 11:45 p.m. Right. Been a long day. And it's not over yet. There's the Pliny. And then there's the Baltic Porter. Will be the chocolate vanilla porter. Bubbling away. Good crownings. Good brews. So there you go. That was the brew day. Had a little bit of drama. But I was able to work through it. I'll get to fixing that control panel here pretty quick. And yeah. I hope you guys are all having a happy Homebrew Wednesday. And like Plato said, the person who invented beer was a wise man. Cheers, everyone.